In the world of Tesla right now, a couple things are happening. First, their cars are continuing to get more and more popular. In fact, a recent study showed that in the first half of the year, Model Y registrations in America have been surging. At the same time, Tesla continues scaling, so they need as many customers as they can get. This in part has finally driven them to start some light advertising, but of course, the biggest myths about Tesla may remain in question for many potential customers. Today, we're going to look into the biggest lies and myths about Tesla, look into their own advertising, and detail the truth in all circumstances. So let's get into it, and a special thanks to Commenteer for sponsoring a portion of this video. Throughout this video, I'll be jumping back and forth between Tesla's claims and commonly believed myths. So to start, let's look at one of the biggest misconceptions about Teslas: they are expensive. Tesla started in the luxury car market with a Model S and then the Model X. Later, they introduced the Model 3, then followed that with the Model Y in 2020. Even though these cars have brought down the price of Tesla's vehicles as a whole, many still believe that electric cars in general, and especially Teslas, are far too expensive to own. Well, for many people, this is still the case, but at the same time, when fully considering vehicle cost of ownership over the lifetime of the car, real-world examples show how affordable these cars can be. Today, a rear-wheel drive Model 3 with an EPA range of 272 miles can be bought new for $40,240. That car also fully qualifies for a $7,500 federal tax credit and could qualify for more depending on where you live. I recently detailed how, with various incentives, a customer was able to buy a Model 3 for $13,620. That is a special circumstance, but incentives, coupled with a $500 referral credit, far lower fueling costs, and an overall lack of maintenance throughout ownership can mean that a Tesla comes in around the same cost as owning a similar gasoline-powered vehicle. Their most popular Model Y now starts at $47,740. And one thing to keep in mind with Tesla compared to other brands is that this is your true cost. They sell direct to the customer, so there are no dealer markups, and this base model includes all of the interior features of the most expensive model. Oftentimes when looking at a car and seeing that it starts at a price, you know that it's going to be far more because of necessary upgrades in the interior and dealer markups. But in the case of Tesla, their quoted price plus a destination fee and taxes will be what you pay. All of this to say, Teslas still couldn't be considered cheap, but they aren't sitting in this crazy expensive category that many might think that they are. Next up, Teslas take hours to charge. Many think that when you buy an electric car, you're signing up for a new life sitting at chargers all the time. A road trip is stressful, and you add multiple hours to all of your journeys, and each week, instead of going to a gas station for 5 minutes, you spend hours at a charger. If this were the case, then yes, these would be impractical, but this would be considered a myth. Is it possible for a Tesla to take long to charge? Yes, but it doesn't have to. There are multiple levels of EV charging that I'll review very quickly. First is the standard outlet. This would be using a mobile connector on any wall outlet to charge up your Tesla. This will indeed take a lot of hours. Tesla's standard outlet mobile connector adds up to 3 miles of range per hour charged. So in the best scenario, for a perfect 330 miles in the Model Y, charged 0 to 100%, that'll take about 110 hours. First, you're rarely going to need to charge all the way, but second, this is never your best charging option. That's where Tesla's wall connector comes in. These can be installed in any home, and these are what most customers use most of the time. For Tesla's wall connector, they say it will get up to 44 miles of range per hour charged. Take that 330 mile ideal range in a Model Y, and you're looking at a 0 to 100% charge at home in 7.5 hours. Again, you likely won't charge 0 to 100% that often, but that right there is a very reasonable charge time, especially when you consider charging overnight. You get home, plug in, and by the time you wake up, your car is good to go. The time you spent at a charger was 0 minutes, or perhaps 15 seconds to plug in. Still, if you need to recoup your charge quickly to keep driving, 7.5 hours is not going to suffice. In comes supercharging. Here, Tesla says that in 15 minutes you can recharge up to 200 miles. Now, the reason they quote this number is because of a charging curve. The higher the battery's charged, the slower it charges, so it's actually a smarter idea not to charge the whole battery each time when road tripping. You deplete the battery, charge up enough to continue your journey, and then charge again later. It is a shift in the mindset of filling up completely, so that is at play, but sitting at a supercharger for hours just is not the case. In most cases, it will be something like 15 to 30 minutes for a reasonable charge. Following that confusion often comes something about how Teslas will run out of charge and you'll be stuck. Some might say they don't have long enough battery life to drive any sort of distance. This one is interesting because when it comes to EPA numbers, they aren't accurate, but that doesn't confirm anything against the viability of these cars. Tesla's vast and ever-growing supercharger network is a huge contributor to how viable these cars are, and road tripping to most areas around the country is very easy in a Tesla. It will also warn you many times and automatically navigate you to a charger as needed long before you ever run out of battery life. That said, on Tesla's side of things, Tesla quotes the EPA's 330-mile range number for the long-range Model Y, and that sounds incredible, but in the real world, this is not really realistic. A new Reuters investigation has found that Tesla vastly overestimates their vehicle ranges. In part, this is due to the way that the EPA allows automakers to submit their own range numbers, and according to this report, it's also because Tesla wants you to feel good about your car's range. This report says, Tesla years ago began exaggerating its vehicle's potential driving distance by rigging their range estimating software. The company decided about a decade ago for marketing purposes to write algorithms for its range meter that would show drivers rosy projections for the distance it could travel on a full battery, according to a person familiar with an early design of the software for its in-dash readouts. Then, when the battery fell below 50% of its maximum charge, the algorithm would show drivers more realistic projections for their remaining driving range. While Reuters simply cited a source, and we can't verify if Tesla has been intentionally misinforming, real-world data from Recurrent is showing that something is up. For the 2021 Model Y, which quotes a 326-mile range, most owners saw ranges around 200 miles, with some around 250 miles. Then in winter, it ranged from 124 to 235 miles of range. It's also important to remember that we don't know how these people are driving. There are tons of factors like weather, acceleration, speed, air conditioning, and more that affect range. Before we go any further, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Cometeer. Cometeer delivers hyper-fresh, flash-frozen coffee with incredible flavor straight to your door on dry ice. I didn't think frozen coffee could taste this fresh, but that's actually why it's so good. This is honestly one of the best cups of coffee I've ever made, and it's also one of the easiest. Just drop the puck in a mug and add some hot water for a simple hot coffee, or enjoy it iced as a cappuccino or any way you take it. What's great is that they come in 100% recyclable aluminum capsules, and they support farmers worldwide and roasters in the US. My favorite roast is the Vino blend from Klatch because it's a great medium blend from one of my favorite roasters. It has that fresh brewed taste, but I'll never have to clean a French press again. It's pour over quality coffee in seconds. You have to try it for yourself though to truly understand. Join the future of coffee with Cometeer and get a curated starter pack of their most popular roasts. Go to cometeer.com/Ryan Shaw to get a free 8-pack and a travel mug when you sign up. That's a free 8-pack of coffees and a travel mug when you sign up at cometeer.com/Ryan Shaw. In any case, as an owner, quote, the range of an electric car is never constant. Each of the thousands of owners currently connected to Recurrent knows that there is a range estimate from the EPA, a range estimate displayed on the vehicle's dashboard, and an actual range. The unfortunate thing here is that this isn't as much the case with other automakers. Chevy, Ford, and Hyundai's in-vehicle predictions have been found to be much more accurate. As a Tesla owner as well, this becomes pretty obvious. You charge to 100%, navigate 250 miles away, and find that you have to charge to get there. I first discovered this on my first Tesla road trip from California to Arizona in 2020. It went great, but I quickly saw that the real range wasn't anywhere close to 326 miles, especially in the summer. Inside EVs also independently tests various EVs. All have deviation from the EPA's numbers, but Tesla typically ends up being the one with the biggest gap between quoted and real-world ranges. For the 2021 Model 3, for example, they still got a great 310 miles of range in their 70-mile-per-hour test, but that was far below the quoted 353 miles of range. So here I'd call Tesla's quoted ranges a myth, and I think the long-term solution is for the EPA to reform the way that they rate cars and make realistic testing standards that reflect true driving habits. Now, let's look at one of Tesla's new ads. This first video actually isn't an official Tesla ad, but it was definitely a type of promotion that they posted on their Tesla Asia Twitter account. In this video, this owner claims a few things. First, she says the day-to-day drive is one of the smoothest and safest. Smoothness is fairly broad, but let's look at safety. She is driving a Model 3, so this is very accurate. The Model 3 has 5 stars in every category from NHTSA and is a top safety pick plus from IIHS with top scores in all but one category. In 2018 as well, it achieved the lowest probability of injury of any vehicle ever tested by NHTSA. So when an accident happens, yes, this is truly one of the safest cars out there. The only one safer might be the Model Y. Some feel that Teslas are dangerous, and these safety tests prove that that isn't the case. On top of that, for fire safety, many still believe that Teslas explode or catch fire easily. In fact, the difference is 11-1 in favor of Tesla. But back to the video, she goes on to talk about auto steer and how it keeps her centered in her lane and warns her if she's getting too close to other cars. Yes, this feature is absolutely true and comes standard on every single Tesla you can buy. She also details that when it's hot, she can precondition the AC through the Tesla app. This is a great feature that works really well and I use all the time in California summers. The next myth is that Teslas are slow golf carts. Absolutely a myth. The Model Y base model does 0 to 60 in 5 seconds, and the performance model does it in 3.5 seconds, with top speeds of 135 and 155 miles per hour respectively. On top of that, the Plaid Model S is the quickest accelerating production vehicle of any kind with a 2-second 0 to 60. If you still see someone making the golf cart argument, they are just incredibly misinformed here. The next Tesla myth involves charging wait times. Sure, a supercharger can take 15 minutes, but as these cars get more popular, there are the lines you'll be dealing with everywhere, right? While many try to frame it this way, videos like this one are a specific example from Thanksgiving in 2019 that somehow keeps circulating. Of course, that line existed, and lines can occur on busy occasions at Tesla superchargers. That's an issue that needed addressing 4 years ago when this video was made, and still needs addressing if we were to see this today, but this is by far not the norm. On average, Tesla chargers are readily available. To help with demand, they build thousands of additional chargers each year, and they plan to keep expanding that rapidly. On top of that, Teslas are all working together to route drivers to available chargers. This helps prevent lines. Now let's look at a couple of Tesla's recent Google advertisements. This is the first place that they've actually been pushing paid ads. This first one claims that the Model Y is the UK's #1 best-selling EV. This is correct and made up 35,551 sales in 2022. Not only that though, the Model Y is globally the best-selling car of any kind right now. So any ads about this car being extremely popular will be accurate from Tesla. Another Tesla ad says, Model Y, highest safety score SUV. As we detailed earlier, this is accurate and verified by multiple agencies. Another myth that somehow perpetuates about Tesla is the idea that they're a foreign automaker coming in and stealing customers from American automakers. Well, first off, Tesla is headquartered in Austin, Texas, and was founded in California. They are a US-based company through and through. They have expanded with factories in China, Berlin, and soon Mexico, but when you buy a Tesla in the US, it is absolutely made in the USA. It will either be produced at their original Fremont factory in California or at Giga, Texas. On top of this, the most American-made cars out there are Teslas. In the Cars.com ranking of the most American-made cars, Tesla took the top 4 spots with the 4 vehicles that they make: Model Y, Model 3, Model X, and Model S, respectively. On top of this, not until slot 16 do we actually see another US-based automaker. Tesla makes the most American-made car you can buy, if that's important to you. Next is an interesting one. Teslas drive themselves. The immediate answer here is that this is a myth, regardless of what Elon Musk might say. You can't get into a Tesla, have it drive completely for you, and just check out. You can pay $15,000 for their FSD package, get the FSD beta, which can attempt a full drive in any scenario, but you have to be actively paying attention and ready to take over in case the system messes up. If it messes up and you don't take over, you're at fault. So technically it is driving itself, but not in the way most think. All Teslas by default, though, include auto steer and traffic-aware cruise control. So the car will essentially drive for you, keeping you centered in your lane, but you are still there as a backup if anything goes wrong, and you have to prove you're paying attention throughout the drive. It's an awesome feature, but it definitely isn't true level 5, hands-off self-driving in the way that many may think. Elon Musk has talked about achieving FSD for years now, and it's a bit of a boy who cried wolf scenario at this point. They're trying to get there and making lots of progress, but nobody believes any of his timelines anymore, and you can't rely on them. Next are some myths about EV batteries. First, EV and Tesla batteries have a short lifespan. This simply is not true. Yes, battery pack replacements do occur, often under warranty, but according to Tesla's 2019 impact report, Tesla Model S and X batteries retain over 80% of their range even after driving 200,000 miles. The reason they are mentioning these cars and not the Model 3 and Y is because they are the ones that have been on the road long enough to actively reach 200,000 miles. Tesla warranties their batteries typically at 8 years or 120,000 miles, so anything under that is fully within warranty. After that, they're typically expected to last 300 to 500,000 miles. The next myth that often follows here is that once that battery pack needs replacing, even after its lifespan, it ends up in a landfill. Tesla says, quote, unlike fossil fuels, which release harmful emissions into the atmosphere that are not recovered for reuse, materials in a Tesla lithium-ion battery are recoverable and recyclable. Battery materials are refined and put into a cell and will still remain in the cell at the end of their life, when they can be recycled to recover its valuable materials for reuse over and over again. Then they add, none of our scrapped lithium-ion batteries go to landfilling and 100% are recycled. For the future, there are many other companies working on battery recycling as well. On top of that myth is the idea that EVs aren't actually greener for multiple reasons. This could stem from the fact that a Model 3 and Y currently result in slightly higher emissions to manufacture than a gasoline vehicle. Quote, the manufacturing process of Model 3 and Model Y currently results in slightly higher GHG emissions than an equivalent combustion engine vehicle. However, based on the global weighted average grid mix, Model 3 and Model Y have lower lifetime emissions than an equivalent ICE after driving 6,500 miles. After that 6,500 mile marker, the difference continues to grow. EV motors are able to use about 75% of the energy from the battery to power the wheels. For an internal combustion engine, that number is about 20% of energy and gas getting to the wheels. So even if charged from electricity that was made with fossil fuels, they're far more efficient at using that energy, and clean energy generation continues expanding. The last myth about Tesla is that they are bankrupt or about to go under. In fact, Tesla has been profitable for a while now, leads the industry in profit margins on vehicles, and is continuing massive growth in every area of their business. Competing EVs are arriving, but Tesla is scaled far better than most, on track to make 1.8 million cars this year. There's a lot of confusion and myths surrounding Tesla that comes from both the general public and Tesla themselves, so I hope this video was helpful for you. For most of these answers, it's pretty clear why Tesla continues growing so much. In the meantime, if you want to see the latest Tesla news, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.